only an indicator of how many people are awake. Guys, I forgot to tell you during the break, saying bye to those guys. Will you pull me out of yesterday's stack? Because that is something I need to mention or put it on screen. Obama administration set to ban inhalers over greenhouse gas. I want to show that. Because I understand that sounds crazy. And I understand I don't want to just have a caller that said she saw it on Fox. And then, she's asking me if it's real. Yes, it's real. It's like a woman, I heard a woman on the radio yesterday locally going, is it true Ron Paul's in third place? He says he is, and I don't think he's a liar. And the host is basically like, no. Well, yeah, really, I showed Rasmussen and Gallup. He's at least in third. Yeah, there it is. The Atlantic is reporting international ban on CFCs, claims cheap over-the-counter inhalers. That means claims, means gets rid of them. Go to another one, though. That's the Atlantic spinning it. They love it. But, yeah, no, there it is admitted. I saw like, I think it was a Hill newspaper one that actually had the text pretty close in there. That's the one that was in yesterday's stack, as if you guys can keep track of all the piles of paperwork I leave behind me like some kind of demonic gerbil. Gerbils, and I was living like not even so much wood shavings, but paper shavings or whatever it is. I mean, look, folks, if you don't know government, there's the London Guardian. Obama administration set to ban asthma inhalers over environmental concerns. Now, that's actually Fox Nation. Sorry, that font is the exact same font and header of London Guardian, which I think is the most pleasing font and look. I think I'm going to have my websites changed over to that headline style right now. That's a problem. I have hundreds of innovation ideas that I can't implement all of them. I'm trying to hire people. I'm trying to train them. Then I'm trying to get the capital to be able to do that. And that's why your support of Infowars.com is absolutely essential. I had my big brainstorm this morning after jogging. Yeah, I'm up to jogging 3 miles, ladies and gentlemen. I know that's pathetic for most of you, but for me, that is far. I haven't been able to jog 3 miles in more than 10 years. I used to jog 6 miles almost every day and lift weights about 2 hours a day. And then when I was about 25, I quit everything, all exercise, quit everything until I was about 34 and turned into the slovenly creature I am now today. But I certainly had a big brainstorm this morning. I even recorded the simple points I wanted to make. But you know what? Let's just go to your calls, and then I'll kind of reassess and go through some of these news items. Let's talk to Tim in Germany, then Keith in North Carolina. Tim, you're on the air. Welcome.
Howdy, Alex. Thanks for taking my call. What you spoke with your guests a little bit earlier really resonates and showing true in Germany as well. What you discussed was that they are feeling the heat. We are all turning on them, that they start to losing their heads, and that they start to get irrational and try to do things in a hurry. Because what happened last night is that Chancellor Merkel on German state television, the primary channel would be like BBC in the UK, started saying in a primetime talk show to which she invited herself only that afternoon, that was widely reported in the press as well, she started saying that there needs to be a mechanism for the EU to govern against the will of non-compliant states and parliaments, basically saying there needs to be an end to, or a partial end to, sovereignty of these nations. So Merkel really went open last night. I mean, we all know that this is what they want.
Well, I want to stop you. That's why I must have a lot of calls from Germans and from Germany, because I see calls from Germany. I see, you're German in North Carolina. That's what I'm saying here. This is earth-shaking. There should be scientists and doctors and playwrights and the most well-spoken people in the world should be out here fighting it, not some redneck from Texas. This is so huge. And before they set this up, they said, you're kooks if you talk about global government. You're kooks if you say the euro is authoritarian. When Herman von Rompuy said 2 years ago, we are going to set up world government the next 2 years, they engineer the implosion. I told people 10 years ago they would do this in the U.S. and in Europe. They're now merging it. They admit, listen, I told you 2 weeks ago, I heard Bloomberg and CNBC, because I can listen to both on XM, TV on radio. Both of them say the problem is democracy, which we know, again, is another bastardization. It's really a republic. The problem is individual rights enshrined in a nation's sovereignty with the people as sovereigns. But they said on CNBC in the same day, while I was listening driving, and on Bloomberg Financial, the problem is the Germans all want to keep sovereignty, so will the French. So we've got to get rid of their sovereignty. We got to get rid of freedom. And they're openly saying, you want your pensions, you want your future, give all your power to the EU bureaucracy to punish countries that don't follow orders. This is dictatorship, a financial dictatorship. And yes, guys, in fact, put it on screen. I covered it last night briefly. Merkel, it was quoting her on the show. Merkel, headline, Europe has 6 weeks to live, and they're going to hold everything you've got hostage. They're going to plunge your markets if you don't do what they want until you give them dictatorship. Instead of conquering you like Napoleon or Hitler or others did with military force, or the British have done, they are conquering through financial fraud. This has been their move. The world government is here. It is earth-shaking, and I can't get the average jackass yuppie. There it is, Daily Mail. 6 weeks to save the euro. Chancellor's warning after another day of financial turmoil. They are implementing all this stuff. So sorry, Keith. Sounds like you're German. Give us your view on this.
Yes, from Germany, not Keith. The problem is, as you said, this is a global thing, and what is really regretful to me as a German is to see, as you stated, that many Americans would have the options. You guys got one of the most or one of the strongest insurance policies against the government going rogue against the citizens. You have the right to be armed. And in Germany, you have restrictions. They use any gun incident that happens, even though some of them looked very strange and had false flag characteristics with them. They use any of these things to demonize gun users, and all of that. And you guys in the United States have that. You guys could really be the ones saving German people from dictatorship again, because if you stop that stuff in the United States, it would really help the world as well, because it would be a strong symbol to these globalists and dictators that want to be these madmen that think they can govern you better than anything else. They think...
well, let's be clear. They don't think they can govern us better. They are eugenicists who have created a cosmology of their greed and their hatred for individuals. They love sorrow. They love pain. And I've heard people spin it that Germany, because it's the only country not completely bankrupt, is somehow taking over. It's not Germany taking over. It's Germany being sucked dry to fund the private European/US-based British banks that are using the euro as a receivership arm. Take Ireland. The big success story, 10% growth rates a year for a decade, low taxes. They signed the euro last year and overnight are bankrupted. And again, signed on to debt that they didn't owe. God bless you. I appreciate your call. By the way, when Jaron found that headline and then corrected me, it's what George Osborne, one of the central bank guys, said 6 weeks. I was crossing that with Merkel. Merkel said Europe will fail, as if Europe is the EU. See, no, it's not a bunch of bankers. See how they do that? Europe is now bankers. Europe will fail soon if they don't do this. A very similar talking point. They found a slightly different headline about the 6 weeks thing. The point is that, yes, she's running around doing this, just like they said 3.5 years ago, give us trillions of dollars or there'll be martial law. And then notice they said, give us hundreds of billions more for Greece or there'll be martial law. And then another bailout, another bailout, another bailout. This is all designed because the general public has no basic adult understanding of basic geopolitical systems, finances, anything. It's very elementary. We have a group of finance oligarchs that are anti-free market, anti-family. I mean, go read Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, and others. Go read the big French banks, all of them. All of their heads, every one of their heads openly goes to big eugenics conferences and nature conservancy garbage, and they fund the carbon taxes, the anti-family, green police, all of it. Look, it's very elementary. They create a guilt-ridden system where they teach you that you're bad and progress is bad and you having any type of wealth is bad, so you're all guilty and will live like a slave. Now, for the West, it means poverty. For the third world, it's a death sentence. And then they go, well, some trendies go, well, we got to go ahead and kill the third world. It's hurting the earth. It's Avatar, whatever. Don't you understand they blocked the third world from industrializing and actually having less people? So even in their own argument, they cold-bloodedly did this to these people. Of course, there's areas where there's squalor and people are poor and overpopulated. But it's because they've been forced off the land into compact cities. I mean, Watson's article last night, the New York Times defending a World Bank corporation that sends in troops to just burn down neighborhoods and rural communities and shoot people, to put trees on their farmland to lower the carbon footprint. It's nothing but cold-blooded genocide. But because you're looking for Hitler or Stalin or Mao or Pol Pot, you're looking for the last killer, the last scam, the last deal. You don't recognize this one. Because it isn't about personalities. That's why the Greenies have told Al Gore to step down, because he's been discredited. They said, we need a new spokesman, Al. Sit down and shut up. Hundreds of publications last week said, Al Gore, go away. You are hurting us. Why did Monsanto change their name a few years ago and then change it back? Because they'd gotten such a bad name. Why did DynCorp change its name for a while? Why has Halliburton done that and moved offshore? Why has, or created new subsidiaries? Why did Blackwater change its name? I mean, it's real simple. It's all about labeling, but it's the same group. There are less than 200 globalists that sit on the Bilderberg, Trilateral Commission, CFR head seats, who all sit on the Fortune 100. And all they do is fly around from city to city, from resort to resort, meeting and coming up with plans and having professors come in and white papers they financed and Google giant tracking crystal ball systems that predict the future for them to a certain extent to try to gauge all of this. But all of their super technology isn't going to work once you're aware of them. And again, they're like most Stalins or Hitlers or Vlad the Impaler or any of these crazies, and they get on power trips, they like to kill people. That's the aberrant kind of societal cancer that gets into power. And we've got a case of this right now. And let me tell you, it's only going to get worse as long as they're in the driver's seat. And they're going to try to create bait and switches and put new people in the driver's seat, but going in the same direction that work for them. And that's what Mitt Romney and these guys are, and Rick Perry. They are from the very same group putting on our uniforms now of liberty to try to fool us. It's very elementary. And these guys are not with us. They put on our uniforms. Here's the dossiers on them that they work for the other team. And if you are so conned by their uniform, oh, but I like their black hair in the uniform. They look politically sharp in it. I hate Obama. I'm going to buy into Rick Perry and Mitt Romney. And you turn your back and they stab you right in the back. It's not even because they're traitors. They were brought up to destroy us. They're dominators. They're criminals. They enjoy it. They sit around and laugh at you. They like bondage. They are psychopaths. And their rulers are psychopaths. Their bosses are. They like it. You like healthy, happy, successful people. They don't like that. Get it through your head. They like black uniforms and stomping on your face. And they hire people that like that. And good people have got to get geared up to devastate the enemy in the info war. Devastate them. We can defeat them so easily. We've got the power, we've got the will, we've got the information. But you have got to start seeing yourselves as leaders right now. There's nothing more frustrating than knowing we can devastate the enemy. We can devastate them 110% every time we take the field. But you got to be willing to take the sacrifice. Not all of us are going to make it through this politically, financially, or physically. I don't care. Commit. The guy in Germany hung up. I was about to go to him. Let's go ahead and talk to, we'll never get back in, the caller from Germany, but let's talk to Keith in North Carolina. We already talked to Keith, or there's another caller from North Carolina. Okay, go ahead, Keith.
Can you hear me, Alex?
Yes, sir. Sorry, I'm ranting.
It's great to get on finally here. Just wanted to make a little comment on what you said earlier about quitting and running off. I know that you were just joking, but, I mean, it's sad when you know about Randy Weaver and what happened to him when he tried to do that.
Yeah, they're not going to let you run off. They tell the local cops, somebody flies an American flag, they want to be left alone, they're the enemy.
Exactly. Well, I got kind of a couple things I want to make comments on. They're kind of broad, sweeping issues. I've been in the Army as an intelligence analyst for about 3 years now. I'd like to say I've been awake for about 2 years, and I've been a listener of your show for about a year now. And